Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode of The Oyster. I am your host, Christopher Bowen, coming to talk to you about a further type of example of the elaboration of what it means to be the oyster that has taken the pinch of sand to develop its own pearl that we always have been and always are. Now, with this understanding comes the fact that we can use our enlightened awareness and the enlightened understanding of what the Renaissance is to accelerate humanity and ourselves and our own humanly potential throughout the rest of our planet, throughout inner Earth, throughout our subterranean cities of Telos, Shambhala, and many, many more, and echoing throughout the entire solar system and eventually the galaxy. But what we need is a wonderful foundation that we can call a galactic society. Shambhala is a great example of a galactic society that has been around for a very, very long time. Tens of thousands of years. Telos has been around for tens of thousands of years. 12,000 years ago, about that time, they decided, the people of Telos around that time, moved over into the mountain that is now called Mount Shasta. If you would like to research that more, you can go and do that. I am not a historian that is paid to tell you about Telos. You can figure that out for yourself and learn about the excitingness of that is your own potential of who our family is to become. And that's not just to say, oh, love should be dictated like this. No. You have the free will to do whatever you want. And here is a creative way that I have, for example, used creativity to allow the very origami diagrams to explain something that can allow us to transition into this Renaissance that we are currently living in. Renaissance needs a solution to energy. What is a great solution to energy? How about free energy? How about 0 point energy? How about those wonderful technologies known to be anti-gravity? How about that? Cardinal for free energy is 0 point energy, which is to be mass produced with, here comes the exciting part, which is to be mass produced with mainstream media as a critical thinking tool that uses kanji, tulips, SWAK envelope, crane's egg on Tato purse. That is TATO purse. Tato purse, therefore, carries out seahorse, which ultimately provides for pig. Pig gets kanji, kanji gets baby dinosaur, truck fin, and manta jet. Ultimately, you give shuttlecock. Now, one of the focuses is, of course, the sonic healing, the energy solution, and how those two things alone can help tie into how we create a galactic society. Oh, isn't that exciting? Sonic healing, known to cure cancer in a much cheaper way than chemotherapy. What do you know? If that's the solution for health, what could be the possible solution for energy? What? Maybe it's energy that doesn't run on fossil fuels. How's that for food for thought? Wouldn't that be a great foundation for a galactic society? I think we can agree with that. Most definitely. It is now allowing us to see 2017 as a vision into the realm of mastery. Now, what does that mean? Let's talk about it for a little bit. In a very wonderful Renaissance, I'm going to coin a term here, Renaissance-nistic way. One of the terms I coined myself actually a little bit ago was drag ghost. Of course, I didn't coin it up. It's Latin for love. But drag ghost is a wonderful term that I would love to use for 2017. And here is a form of what I would love to call drag ghost. Here's critical thinking tool that I used, which is indispensable for the entirety of humanity. Violence is a crane egg for tulips for $1 yacht. Simply SWAK envelope in a $5 star. Compounding butterfly, Tato purse to Drazzle. I mean, there we go. It's pretty much said pretty well, pretty obviously. It's a wonderful, wonderful... Once again, I use that term a lot to let you reiterate and know the very easiness of what it is to be human. Did that make sense? Because now we're stepping into the realm of what it means to be a galactic human, a galactic citizen. And that is what our birthright is, especially since we now have the ability to live a lot longer with what? Sonic healing and... no way. Energy solutions with free energy. Isn't that something? And those are just two of them. We ultimately have the ability to live in a galactic society, and that's what we're moving towards, because we have many solutions that are aware, that have awareness to them, like people have tied their awareness to these solutions. And most excitingly is people have tied their interests, and in a sense, they've tied their kind of curiosity to these types of facts and ideas, because when you understand about the idea of how we are living in a renaissance, you become to think, maybe a little bit happier, a little bit more positive about your life, a little bit more excited about your future and the way that you have the ability to create history. You have a little bit more incentive to do things that give you more energy, give you more excitement, give you more allegiance to the posterity that is our, in a sense, duty to, uphold. It establishes justice. In a sense, it assures domestic tranquility, and it allows us to provide for the common defense. These are all just wonderful things that we innately do, and we can innately do by setting up the foundation of this galactic society, which we can do, and we are doing, here in 2017. The unique thing is we can do it independently. We can do it individually, or we can do it as a group. And this is what allows us to completely revolutionize the way we view life, not only amongst each other and the way that we view culture, but the way we view our attachment, connection, and ultimately our bond with our inner earth brethren, with our elder brothers. Now these guys, they are very, 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 very wise, very ancient in their knowledge and thinking, some of them. I mean, of course, there are some that are 25 and 60, and there are quite a few that are 9 to 72. Now, the wonderful thing is that there are also hundreds and hundreds of years old members in our terms of how we view time. They are 200, 500, 600, 900 to 2,000 years old. 2,000 to even 5,000 to even 10,000. But it does not stop there. It goes to 30,000 years old. These beings have been alive, even up to hundreds of thousands of years. Of course, that is just their culture. I mean, with, cities made out of crystals and EMVs, technology to go to and from other planets, of course, you would have the ability to live that long. And that's just one exciting thing about living in a galactic society that we are heading towards. It's going to be, that alone is enough excitement to get people interested in what it means to perhaps be excited about their future, for one, and be excited about what it means to be human, what it means to be creative, and what it means to live in a free society and ultimately a galactic society. There are so many different ways of living, so many different ways of living life, that it could be completely different from the way that we now perceive what our human lifespan and what can be done in it. Now, the exciting thing is, for example, Shambhala, Telos. Let's use Telos for example. Their nature level, at their very bottom level of their mountain, they have wonderful, massive, beautiful nature areas, just full of trees, abundance, life, flowers, fragrances, that are just absolutely spectacular, absolutely beautiful. And this is what we get to create. This is what we get to experience and live in. We are going to be able to create a nature area, for example, that is completely untouched by mankind, in the sense that we don't necessarily need to touch it. I mean, when we have EMVs that don't require energy, that don't break down, and they don't even touch the ground, we can live in nature without ever building on top of her. That is the model for how these culturally and scientifically advanced civilizations live, and they live together in peace and harmony without any violence, war, or degradation. There is none. It does not hold in their vibration at all. And that is a beautiful thing about how we can perhaps mimic, if not even, just unite with our family there. I mean, wouldn't that be wonderful? Not only, of course, we can do our own creative ways to think about how life can be viewed on Earth, on the surface world, by how we can mimic their crystal cities and mimic their fountains and their libraries, and mimic their dome housing structures, and how we can mimic their agriculture, to their telepathic lifestyle, to their superhuman strength, and their spiritually advanced telepathic communicational understandings. We can not only use their culture and science to model what we can become, but we can just join up with them. Say, hey, I think that's a much more viable option that I would like to take, and I would like to live in that type of society. I'd like to move there. The same way how we think about moving from one country to the next, from one state to another, because it would benefit us in certain ways. Why not think about, setting a larger transition into that area by saying, hey, we want to live in and have an easier lifestyle. Of course, it'll be much easier and much more beneficial. Of course, much more prosperous, and most importantly, much more blissful, lovely, and incredibly impactful to our environment. Now, there is ultimately no reason why we wouldn't want to live in a society like that. There is no reason that is something that is not beneficial to us. It's a higher state of consciousness. It's a higher state of living. It's a higher state of being. It's a higher state of existence. That is a wonderful realm to live in. That is a wonderful place that already exists and has been existing for a very long time. As a matter of fact, it is fact that Admiral Byrd went there in the late 40s, and talked to an ascended master. Now, you can go and research that yourself and find out all about that. That's not what this show is about, giving a little history explanation. But you can discover that this Renaissance that we live in now has the opportunity to accelerate you into that higher state of being, higher state of living, and higher state of acceptance, higher state of bonding, and really a sense of awareness of where we are going, where we want to go, and the acceleration that allows us to get there. Now, of course, the acceleration is happening, oh my goodness, extraordinarily quick. We do not quite yet have words, but we do have a sense of critical tools that allows us to assess what creates solutions out of the very efforts that we create symbiotically. And symbiotic growth is tree-like in growth. Thank you again for listening and for your support. My name is Christopher Bowen, your host, and this is The Oyster. Take care, gentlemen and ladies, and I know that you are doing wonderful, spectacular things, and I hope that you continue to support and listen, and please don't forget to comment, subscribe, or whatever social media does nowadays. It's not much of interest to me. I just want you healthy.